Hi, I'm Angela Dillmon here at the Dillmon Group at Keller Williams, Chesterfield. Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you sold your house. Awesome! Hey, we're here to talk about what is next. The very next thing that's going to happen is you're going to have a building inspector in your house. So here today to help us to figure out what to expect and how to prepare for that is Rick Cavey with Pillar to Post Home Inspections, the Shad Borah team. Rick, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, how can I best prepare as a seller for you to come and inspect my house? And will you be the only guy there, or will I have a bunch of guys there?
Well, the best way to prepare for a home inspection, Angela, as a seller is, one, don't be too nervous and don't feel like the house has to be, perfect. But at the same time, accessibility for us is key. So we want to make sure that we have the ability and accessibility to get to all the areas of the home that we're going to inspect. And we cover the home inside and out. So we're going to be getting on the roof, we're going to be accessing the attic, we're going to need to get into those crawl spaces if you have them, we're going to need to access the furnace and the electric panel. So if there's stored items that are in front of those, we want to have those moved and have all those areas of the home accessible.
So accessibility, that's a big key right there. What's the next thing? I would imagine you need remotes for stuff.
Absolutely. So if you have remote fireplaces, remote fans, having those out for us, and maybe even a note that says, hey, this works the master bedroom fan or the fireplace in the hearth room, that would be excellent, just so that it helps us navigate through the home and know where the remotes are for those items.
Fantastic. Any notes you could leave for the inspector to tell them how to turn anything on or turn it off or whatever would be fantastic, or even if you know what GFIs work what. Sometimes, something gets tripped in the home and they can't get the hot tub back on, or they can't get the Whirlpool tub back on, and they don't know where the GFI is and don't have time to look for it.
Or if you have specialty items in the home where they're not in every home, if you have a brief description on how that operates, it'll help us, test it. That would be fantastic as well.
So how many guys are we talking about can be in my house?
Honestly, it could be up to maybe 6 or 7 inspectors, depending on how many services that buyer orders. So it could be the main home inspector, but you could have a sewer technician, a gas technician, a chimney technician, pool inspector if you have a pool. So there could be, up to, 6 or 7 inspectors.
And they have to set a radon test. So when do you set those if the buyer chooses a radon?
If the buyer chooses a radon, ideally we'd like to set that 2 days prior to the inspection, because it is a 40-hour test. That way we can pick it up at the inspection.
And if it doesn't get set until the inspection, because sometimes buyers don't decide till then, it'll be 2 days later. They will call, they have to make an appointment to pick it up, but it's going to be 2 days later. When do you get the buyer the report? When can I expect to see that?
We deliver our reports on site, so the client will actually have that report when we're done with the inspection. They can walk away with that. So.
Unless it's a radon and we're waiting for a radon, then it may be a couple of days. So as a seller, you may not see the results of the request for 2 to 3 days after, sometimes 4. Buyer has 10 days to make the request, one request, then you'll enter a 10-day negotiating period. That's key. Also remember, all the utilities must be on. That's water, that's electric, that's gas. It needs to be on so they can inspect everything. If not, we have to get you to turn it on, they have to come back, and it delays everything big time. So what is your purpose there? Is your purpose there to just try to figure out what's going on? Do you recommend other inspectors after you get done? Like
Sometimes.
If you see something structural, or do you refer it out? What do you do?
That's a good question. So, we're there to do a visual inspection of the property and to evaluate and assess the overall condition of the property. So if we see something that's of concern and requires further evaluation, we're going to recommend a structural engineer or an electrician maybe, or plumber if there's certain items that need to be further evaluated.
And you might get that request from the buyer that, hey, we need to have a structural guy out, or we need to have an electrician out to look at maybe copper to aluminum devices in a home. So one time they get to make the request, 10-day negotiating period after that. Make your home accessible, make allow all the utilities to be on, and remember the buyer's going to be there, the family members are going to be there, the agent's going to be there. Do you recommend a seller to be there?
Ideally it's better that they're not there so that we can walk freely in the home, talk about items we might find. It's an emotional process, so we don't want to get those too involved in that process of inspecting.
That's right.
We want to make sure everybody can talk freely and we can share our
So it's
true
better.
opinion.
It's better for you to be gone. You're pets to be in a pen or taken out of the house. Make sure that all the lights work, you got light bulbs and everything, that's another big thing that happens, can't get lights on, and then that's a whole nother thing on your building inspection request. That's what to expect. Next is the building inspection, then you'll see an appraiser, titles being run at the same time, and we'll jump through those hurdles next.